such an honor and a pleasure to be here today and to inspire and motivate you to dream big. And that's the message today. It's about empowerment and to look at technology. So I ask you a question. What if technology could not only help a person improve their quality of life, but to give them freedom of mobility and also become an extension of our senses? What defines us? Does my wheelchair define me? Does your wheelchair define you? Yesterday I was rolling outside of the convention center and there was this little kid and he said, "Look, Mommy," he said, "that old lady looks just like Grandma." It's like, oh my gosh. And I think the mother was mortified and she just kind of scurried her child along and pretended that the whole thing didn't happen. And I was mortified thinking, do I really look that old? Maybe if I was like Einstein with gray hair and bushy eyebrows, but it was my wheelchair. And the child referenced the wheelchair because that's what he knew. His grandma obviously is in a wheelchair. And so that's his perception. And I've spent my 22 years of my paralyzed life trying to deflect the word disabled. Is the word disabled empowering or is it disempowering? I've tried to turn it around into the antonyms for disabled and the near antonyms of chipper, well-being, wholesome, unimpaired. And while I can't walk on my own, you've never seen me dance. So really, try not to have a perception of someone. So what is it like to be paralyzed? Step into my shoes. If we could feel what other people feel, see what they see, hear what they hear, and have compassion for others. So everybody raise your fist, up in the air, come on, do it high, raise it up. Now put it on your lap. Okay, now pull out this pointer finger and wiggle it around and tuck it back in. I want everybody doing it, everybody. There you go. And now pull out the pinky finger, tuck it back in, easily done, right? And now you've got to keep your hand down for this one. Pull out the middle finger. Don't show me a bunch of fingers. Wiggle it around and tuck it back in. And now, take out the ring finger. Now lift that ring finger up high in the air. Keep it down on your lap, sorry. Keep the wrist down, but try and lift the finger only up high. Wiggle it around. Who's having a problem? Raise your hands, please. Raise your hands. Okay, so that's difficult. Some of you might be a little double-jointed and it might be easy to do. But transfer that, not being able to move that finger and lift it up high with all of your mind and your might. Transfer that into your lower limbs. Put both feet on the ground and imagine that you can't move and wiggle your little toes. Imagine that you can't flicker your muscles. And now take that imagining from this one moment into 3 minutes. Surrender all feeling, sensation, and movement from below your pelvis. Take that into 1 hour. Imagine. A day. 2 days. 22 years. Think of a moment in your life that you would just give anything to relive. I was 24 years old. I was a dancer, an athlete, the athletics captain of my school. I was a long jumper, and it was back in the 80s when we had really big hair. And I used to run on the beach and have waves chase me. I was a downhill skier. I felt invincible. I felt alive, unconquerable. But that all changed in a split second. I was downhill skiing. I rode the chairlift as if I was riding it for the last time. A wave, some inexplicable premonition swept through my body. And I knew that I had no business being on the mountain that day. On purpose, I skied underneath the chairlift to remain visible. I stopped again on the flats. And from me to say, Trip, the dog. His ears went like that. He knows his name. That's how far away it was. I crossed my tips. I did a somersault. And I landed on my back. I shattered 4 vertebrae in a split second. And I also shattered the illusions of my own immortality. It was as if an electric current went zzz. My legs crumbled on top of me and there was nothing. No movement, no sensation below my pelvis. I was taken on a backboard down behind a toboggan and a snowmobile to the clinic, and they cut my favorite ski jacket off of me. I was taken on a flight for life to St. Anthony's Hospital in Denver, Colorado. And it was just a couple of weeks later, this doctor, his face screamed medical student. It was younger than mine. I was only 24. And he had been sent to deliver the bad news. He said, Amanda, you'll never walk again. And it was as though I had been given a death sentence. And I became determined to prove him wrong. Him and the guy upstairs. And I gave myself 3 weeks to walk out of the hospital. And 3 weeks turned into 3 months, 3 years, 5 years. And now 22 years. And there was always this play between acceptance and hope. I took hope completely out of my vocabulary. Finally, I learned to accept my paralysis. It's like a man, duh. Paralysis could be for life. Get a clue. And then I brought hope back in. Because I understood that I needed to keep my body alive. And my philosophy is if you can move it even just a little bit, then use it. There's studies today that are happening that prove that locomotor training is really important for neuromuscular activity below the level of injury, below your lesion. And if you have any type of paralysis from a neurological disorder, from a stroke, keep your body moving. Our bodies begin to die when we sit, when we live a sedentary lifestyle. Our digestive system ceases to operate. Bladder, bowels, our skin issues, circulation, our heart doesn't work as well. I don't sleep as well, and I suffer from intense neuropathic nerve pain. I knew that I needed to incorporate a daily regimen into my life. A daily regimen of physical therapy. When someone sustains a spinal cord injury, we're prone to osteoporosis, to joint contractions, and also to muscle atrophy. I knew that I had to do physical therapy. I had to weight bear on my legs, stand tall any way that I could in those ugly orthotics, leg braces. But I did it, and I kept my body flexible, because there's every reason for a person to learn how to walk again today, because they can. So my message to you is prepare your body to walk again today. Prepare your body today, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. I went to India. I was a radical stem cell tourist, and I had 6 treatments over a 3-year span of stem cells in India. And this is not very pretty, but I was a completely paralyzed individual from the waist down. After my stem cell treatments, I regained some movement in my legs, but not enough to enable me to walk again. So can everybody see? You can see my legs move just a little bit. So again, it's not pretty, and I'm a little stiff. So I'm the proud owner of hamstrings, just flickers of hamstrings. Proud owner of abductors, adductors, some quads, and some glutes. So those that don't know what the glutes are, they're the ones in your bum that you sit on. So, and I'm proud of what I've got, but it's not enough to enable me to walk again. So I got on this crazy contraption that you're seeing, and it's the Ultra-G treadmill. It's an anti-gravity treadmill. And basically, it's like walking on a cushion of air. Hold on. I've lost my device. You never know what I'm going to find sitting. I found car keys down there and all types. So, anyway, this is an Ultra-G treadmill, and basically it inflates. I'm walking on a treadmill on a cushion of air. I swing my legs through sloppily like a drunkard, and it's ugly. And so I'm swinging my legs through. I'm walking. It's a great cardio workout, and it's a really brilliant device for someone that's trying to rehabilitate from an injury. But for me, 3 things weren't happening. I wasn't walking over ground with the world going by me, and that's really important for your proprioceptive feedback. So you can get the visual cues, and you can have the world going by you as you're going through space. That's important. Weight bearing on your legs is really important for bone density. So you've got to weight bear. Do you stand? You've got to get up and stand. After this, I want you to go home and stand up in a standing frame. Do what you can to move your body and get maximum range of motion. So weight bearing was really key. The other thing that wasn't happening here is I wasn't in perfect biomechanical alignment. And that's really important. And so I started to imagine, well, what could put me in perfect alignment, fully weight bearing and walking over ground? I imagined an avatar, and then the movie came out, and then I imagined being encased in some type of robotic outer shell. And then the exoskeleton technology came out, and I was given the call of a lifetime. The wheelchair's been around for 1,500 years. And then a congressionalist, actually in 1887, made this statement. And these words are over the door on the Capitol in Congress to this day. And he said, "He that invents a machine augments the power of a man and the well-being of mankind." I encourage you to go back and sketch your brilliant, impossible ideas. And have a brilliant idea even before breakfast. Write it down and sketch it. In 1890, 124 years ago, a Russian drew the very first exoskeleton drawing. That was 124 years ago. But it took until 1960 for GE and the Army, it was funded by the Army, to create the hardy man. And it was this ugly 1,500-pound suit that was created to actually carry 1,500 pounds. So it was totally impractical. And they couldn't really do anything with it. But that was really the first exoskeleton that came out. And then nothing really happened until DARPA and Lockheed Martin helped fund a military exoskeleton called the Hulk, the Human Universal Load Carrier. And out of that military exoskeleton, a medical application was born. And that today is the exoskeleton as we know it. So that's a little bit of a history and the intimate marriage between man and machine merged together to create the first medical application of a bionic exoskeleton suit. And that impractical barrier was broken. It's not easy to get a person, to get a robot walking, let alone a paralyzed person inside a robot. So in essence, we're creating the most complex neuroprosthetic ever imagined. Sci-fi movies show exoskeletons where it's kind of the greatest equalizer for human beings. Ripley defeated the alien queen, and then Tony Stark became Iron Man and had these amazing superhero capabilities, and he can fly too. And then we had the Hulk. This is the Hulk, which is a military exoskeleton, and soldiers can carry up to 200 pounds of weight. They can squat and they can leap over amazing terrain. They can endure throughout the day. So it's about augmenting human potential. So we've gone from what we know as the unpowered orthotics with the leg braces, these cumbersome leg braces that I would strap on, and I'd cry putting them on. And I could only walk with a walker, not with crutches. So think, everything I do, as I push my wheelchair, I'm pushing with two hands. What happens when I push with one hand? What happens? I go around in circles. So I have a hand cycle. My hand cycle I do with two arms. My cross-country ski, I power through like this. I've been able to do all of these things, these amazing adaptive technological sports. I learned how to ski again. I'm a better skier now than I ever was before. A cross-country skier, hand cycle, rock climbing, sailing, parasailing, kite surfing, hang gliding. Yet nothing had been invented that enabled me to walk again in a very natural gait until now, until we have the creation of the Bionic Exoskeleton suit. And why it's important is that it enables me to do a reciprocal cross-lateral gait in a very natural walking trajectory. So there are several different exoskeletons on the market today. We have the Rex, Rewalk, Hal from Cyberdyne in Japan. And we have a new one coming out called Indigo from Vanderbilt University and Parker Hannifin. The one that I'm going to demonstrate for you today is Exo from Exobionics, a manufacturer in California. It's American made, and it's one of the most powerful rehabilitative devices out there. The market for this technology has expanded to stroke, spinal cord injuries, any neurological disorder. So I had done all of these things and tried with my physical therapy to keep my body flexible with great range of motion and to keep it alive and well. I prepared my body to walk again. I never gave up. And then I received the phone call that turned my life around. I was invited to walk again as the first paraplegic woman in a prototype exoskeleton for what was called Berkeley Bionics. The robot was called E-Legs back then, it's now called Exo. And it was for National Geographic Television. No pressure. And I had to do it all within a couple of days. So take a look at this video. Keep in mind, this is a prototype. The company is now called Exobonics, and they have a whole clinical staff. But this is even before they had a clinical staff available. And it was ugly. They let me fall. So check it out.
Amanda, a rookie test pilot, is wearing the suit for the first time.
I just am so excited, and I feel very honored that I'm one of the first pilots to test this.
But will she be able to walk in the suit? After watching Ted, Amanda is ready to try her first steps.
Okay, bring the left foot just back a bit. Yeah, just so it's even. Okay. Okay, ready.
The hardest part is standing up. The tether is there just for safety. It does not support Amanda.
Whoa! Sorry.
Balance is the key.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Amanda must learn how to be steady on legs that have entirely forgotten how to walk.
I have 18 years of sitting, and it's almost like I have to relearn and rewire my brain. Sorry, guys. Can I try one more time? And now I have to get it. Ted, give me pointers. Ted's my hero. He's my model.
We'll try one more, and I think that's going to be all good.
Okay. Yeah.
The batteries powering the suit are running low. Amanda's only got one more try.
Come on, Amanda. Yes? Should I turn?
And then you pull forward.
Okay, good. It just feels so cool to be walking.
Amanda uses the crutches to drive the exoskeleton. A band on her arm senses the movement and tells the computer to move the corresponding leg forward. Right arm, left leg. Left arm, right leg. Just like a normal gait.
First time that I stepped into the exoskeleton and it stepped with me was my reality coming alive before my eyes. I was living my dreams, and to be able to take a natural step, and not just one, but another one, and another one, and to make it feel normal, and to be told in my body, rather than looking upwards, that's what it's about.
Back and you're ready to sit. Okay, on the down. Good position.
So there's every reason for a person to never hear those words, "You'll never walk again." Instead, a doctor can say, "Well, yes you can. It'll just be a little different. Let's show you how." again after 22 years of paralysis. And it's a really cool role reversal because I'm standing and most of you are sitting right now. So